Welcome back to part 2 of my entryway makeover. Today I'm sharing how to build and install a DIY built-in bench on a budget. In case you missed part 1 last week, I shared how Brandon and I built our DIY built-in cabinet and door on a budget. I'll link that video below if you haven't checked it out yet. You can get a full material list and detailed tutorial on my blog, which I'll link below this video in the description box. Before we get started though, make sure to subscribe and follow along. I share fun new DIY and decor videos every week here on the channel. Just like the built-in cabinet, the first step is to determine the dimensions of your bench based on your space. Keep in mind the standard height for a bench is about 18 to 20 inches and the depth can be between 15 to 20 inches. Also, take into consideration any wall outlets you might have. We had one wall outlet that we had to work our build around. The next step is to remove the baseboard, which we did already for the cabinet in part 1. For the frame of the bench, I used 3/4 inch thick plywood ripped to size for the sides, middle, and top frame, and 1x3s for the back frame. I added pocket holes to the top frame boards and the 1x3s. For a higher end look, I used wood glue and 1¼ inch brad nails to attach two 3/4 inch plywood boards together for the two sides and the middle frame of the bench. Using two boards together will create a 1½ inch thick frame to attach a 1x2 trim board to it, so the final inside view of the bench trim and frame will all be flush and there won't be a gap between the two boards. You'll see what I mean at the end, but it ends up looking much higher end. Also, the middle frame boards were 3/4 inch shorter than the sides to account for the top frame boards. Next, I attached the bench frame sides to the middle frame with the 1x3 boards with pocket holes and 1¼ inch Kreg screws to form the back frame of the bench. These 1x3 back frame boards will also be used to attach the bench to the wall. Because we had to work around our wall outlet, we placed the boards along the bottom of the bench, but I would have preferred to place them along the top of it if I wasn't working around our outlet. We finished off the bench frame with the top plywood boards along the front of the bench and the back of the bench. I installed them with Kreg screws into the sides and self-tapping screws into the middle frame board. I did leave a small gap along the top of the backboard to leave space for the very top of our outlet. Next, I used a stud finder to find our studs and used 3-inch screws through the back 1x3s to attach the bench frame to the wall studs. I also added some 1/4 inch thick trim to the front of my 1x3s to cover up the pocket holes. I'm going to be painting under the bench all the same color as the built-in, so it will be one cohesive look. Ideally, I would have loved to use a 1½ inch thick or 2 inch thick of premium wood, but that definitely wasn't in the budget. So I had to create that look for a low cost. I ended up using the same method as my DIY workbench top. I'll link that video below if you want to check out the details on it. Using wood glue and Kreg screws, I attached premium 1x2s to the sides of the project panel board, which was cut to size. Then I framed out the bottom of the bench top inside of the 1x2s with 1x4s attached with wood glue and 1¼ inch wood screws. which were countersunk beneath the wood surface a little bit. These boards will allow the bench top to sit at the correct height on top of the bench frame. I trimmed it out with 1x2s cut to size and 1¼ inch brad nails. This finishing touch is always my favorite part of any built-in project. To connect the trim between the bench, cabinet, and wall, I attached a 1x4 along the bottom of the floor. And now it's time to move on to the paint prep work, including caulking, filling nail holes with spackle, wood filler touch-ups, and some sanding. This built-in cabinet and bench have definitely challenged Brandon and I, but we love how it's turning out. I'm super excited to paint these built-ins and finish this entryway makeover. Let me know below in the comments what paint color you think I should use on the built-ins. I'm thinking a more fun, bold color, but I'm not sure. I'm going to be narrowing down paint colors next week and getting samples for them. So make sure to also follow along on Instagram. I'll be sharing some paint samples out on stories. Also make sure to subscribe and follow along here on the channel. I'll be sharing the final entryway reveal in the next few weeks, and I'll also be sharing the full cost breakdown of everything from the built-ins to all the decor that I'm going to use for the entryway makeover. Thank you so much for stopping by.